The Anderson Lumber Company High School Player of the Week segment will be on the docket. Donnie Moore and the panel discuss sports headlines from around the country before the Tennessee Smoky Spotlight shines on tomorrow's Super Bowl. And finally, the panel gives their Shelter Insurance bowl predictions for the week. And now it's time for the UT Sports Report, sponsored by the Cherokee Group and the Klein Dental Arts SEC Notebook, featuring former UT assistant football coach Ray Trail, Blount County Sports Hall of Famer Donnie Moore, Marcus Fitzsimmons, veteran sports writer, and Carson Newman assistant football coach Tony Iruli. Well, Coach Trail, the Vols last week, they won one and they lost one. They could have very easily lost two, or they could have very easily won two, but it ended up 1-1. But let's go back to last Saturday's game with Auburn, because I guess in my lifetime I have never seen two teams shoot the basketball so poorly in a basketball game as those two teams shot it. Combined, they were 20 for 118 for 16.9% from the field. They were 5 for 48 from three-point shots for 10%. Now, I've seen basketball games where one team didn't shoot the ball very well, but I have never seen a basketball game in which two teams shot so poorly as I did in that Tennessee-Auburn game last week, and both of those teams ranked in the top 25, and Tennessee ranked in the top 10 at the time.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't believe I've ever seen that before. Two teams equally. It seems like one didn't want to get ahead of the other one too much, so they just threw it up there. And I've never seen a game quite like that.
You know, I didn't really know whether I should feel sorry for him, or just embarrassed for him, or what, Tony Iruli, but I think I just pitied him. Just somebody hit one.
Well, we're going to the game. We were talking about how the two head coaches are great defensive coaches, and and it's going to be a tough physical type of game like that. But we didn't imagine the poor shooting percentages by both teams. I mean, it was just I think later on that day I went to my granddaughter's little 7-year-old basketball game, and I think the field goal percentage was higher than that game.
Yeah.
Than
the barn
what we saw.
The barn was safe because the broadside of it barely got touched.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's put it in perspective, Marcus. A win is a win is a win, and it's a whole lot better if you play the game to win ugly than it is to lose pretty. And if you're going to win, that's the way to win it, and that's what they did, and that's what you're out there for, is to win the game. And I'll tell you what, from Auburn's standpoint, that had to be a devastating loss for them because, it carried over and they lost their other game this week. They went 0-2 this week. So I'm sure from a mental standpoint, it didn't help them one bit to lose like they did.
Well, especially for Bruce
Saturday.
Pearl, because, him coming back to Tennessee and getting an opportunity to beat Tennessee on their home court, I mean, that's awfully big for him and all that, and know that it was just not a very good game on both teams' parts, but he ended up losing it.
Well, you look at Vescovy and you look at Ziegler on your perimeter, you really had nothing. Ziegler was 0 for 10. The first time this year, I'm going to tell you, Kai Ziegler has had one heck of a year. I still think he's the best he's best point guard in the league, or if not, he's right there at the top. But I'm going to tell you, those two guards for Auburn ate his lunch last week.
Oh,
Coach
yeah.
Trail. They certainly did defensively.
I tell you what, it seems like Ziegler is either hot or cold. I mean, he just – some games he can't miss. Then some games he can't hit. I don't understand it myself, but I'm not a basketball expert. But I just sit there and watch, and it looks to me like that. I wonder if all that substitution that he does affects you. I've never played basketball.
Yep.
But it seems like you get out there, you play 2 or 3 minutes or 4 minutes or 5 minutes, and you're out. And it doesn't matter if you're hot or cold.
You've seen a few, though.
Huh?
You've seen a few, though.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, it's I don't understand that.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
What do you think, Mike?
Here's the way I think. They took away Auburn's transition game. We talked in last week that Auburn likes to go down. The previous game, they scored like 94 points. They like to go up and down. They took that game completely away from them. They made it a half-court game. And when you make it a half-court game, you're going to put everything on the defensive side. And Auburn said, well, if you want to make it a half-court game, we'll just make it a half-court game on our end of it. So it was just like a slugfest on both ends. Well, when you get into a game like that, it takes every bit of your legs away.
Yeah.
Defense just takes your legs away. And I've talked about this before. And when your legs go, your outside shooting goes.
Sure.
That's really hard for people to understand. But if you don't have any legs and you don't have any legs left, you don't have any.
Well, when you make a jump shot, you feel instead of getting the vertical jump, and 12, 18 inches off the ground, and you're just not coming off the ground.
And then I look at the point that when you get into a game like that, every possession matters, Marcus. Every possession that you come down there, it can be 18 or 17 minutes left in the first half, and it's an important possession because if you could get up 3 or 4 points, that's a pretty good hit in a game like this when you got a slugfest going and nobody playing any offense. But I look at those two teams. I look at all the teams, in America right now. Everybody wants to play the pro offense because that's the way they recruit. They go out and they say, hey, our program gets up and down the court. We play man-to-man defense. We're going to give you the best opportunity to play pro basketball. Well, when you play the pro game, you don't have a lot of sets in your offense. There's not a lot of screens. How many of you have really seen somebody run a play? I mean, they come down and they're ball movement on the outside. They're post up on the inside. There's not a lot of screening and stuff going on. Well, if you're not shooting the basketball very well and you don't have any legs and you don't have any screening going on or any plays going on, you're trying to play a pro game that gives a lot of movement. You're just wearing yourself out down there, too, on the offensive end. There wasn't any openings much for shots. I mean, Tennessee had some pretty good looks. Don't get me wrong, but there wasn't anything there giving anybody any help, screen-wise and so forth. Marcus, your take, huh?
Well, to go back to what you said about Ziegler, I thought we saw two things. He had a very freshman-like day. But at the same time, Auburn guards were not afraid to foul him. And what I mean is a lot of defenders back off of him because he's faster and smaller. And they're not sure how to play somebody with that size differential because to them it's like a post trying to guard a guard because they've got 4 or 5 inches on him. And he takes advantage of that superbly well. But Auburn wasn't playing that game. They were stacking up on him. And you had the same two guys defending him. And what Mike said, when you got into that half court, it became a game of one-upsmanship. And it was 2-on-1. It was him against two guys. So I thought you saw a little bit of the back and forth, and I thought you saw a little bit of the senior advantage, junior advantage, upperclassman advantage with some things that you normally don't see because they're normally not playing at half court that much. I think it gave Auburn a little bit of an advantage up front to make him look more like a freshman.
Yeah. Coach Terrell, Rick Barnes is all about defense. He spends about 3/4 of his time in practice, the way I understand it, on defensive sets, and if you don't play defense, you're coming out of the game. My question is this: without that balance with offense and defense, without that balance, can he make a run to the Final Four? Can he make a run deep in the tournament with just defense? Pretty much.
No.
Yeah.
No, you get in a team, you just can't play. It'd be like going in the football game and you only play one defense. Eventually people they'll pick that out.
Figure it out.
And basketball is a game of scoring. I mean, it's not like in football or something like that where you can win 3-0 or, you keep the score down. Because, you're not going to win. You're going to win some games that, just like the Auburn game, they come over and they play your game. But most people are not going to do that.
If you compare this outfit the way they're playing right now or the way they've played in the past, it's almost like comparing it to football.
Yeah.
It's almost like watching a Woody Hayes or a Bo Schembechler football team, 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Yep.
And we're going to throw it if it's 3rd and 20, and we may
Yeah.
not. We may just run it again and punt it. That's what it looks like to me. Now, Tennessee fans are all excited about their football.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
excited about the football because they're putting up points and they're
Oh,
throwing
yeah.
the ball over the field. But Tony, the basketball program is the direct opposite. They're not putting very many points up there at all, and it's pretty much defense. It's almost ironic to me,
Yeah.
but you can get by with that, I guess, because you're winning basketball games. But
Well, the bottom line is winning games. But when you
Yes.
start talking about now going to that next step, remember this is all happening after Tennessee was being ranked number 2 in the country,
right,
and all of a sudden they lose against Florida, they struggle against Auburn, and they lose against Vandy, and so I'm sure there's some soul searching going on right now. And it'd be interesting how they end up playing against Missouri today.
I watch a Purdue play, and they've got the big guy inside. They're number 1 in the country. I picked them out because they're number 1. They're the best right now, and they got Edey inside. He's 7'2" or whatever in there.
He's
and
big.
they got 4 other players that look like basketball players that played in the 70s. They're good, well balanced players. They play pretty good defense. They can shoot the ball well from the outside. But you go down here to the Southeastern Conference and the Big 12 and some of these leagues, it looks like these guys are football players. It looks like everybody's a football player out there, and we're going to out-muscle you. We're going to out-defense you. We're going to out-rebound you, and we're going to take the ball to the bucket. The finesse game is gone.
yeah.
It's a little bit refreshing to see Purdue doing as well as they're doing because they're more of a finesse team. You don't see many finesse teams anymore in college basketball, so it's kind of refreshing. But my question is, if you're going to recruit this way and you're going to play this way, how are you ever going to get a great shooter to come here? How are you going to get a great shooter to go to most any place? Because kids averaging, say, he has averaging 34 in high school, and he's a fairly good defensive player. He's not a great player. Why would he come to a place that plays 3/4 defense in practice, and he's not going to get very many shots?
And that's what the high school kids are looking at. They're looking at, okay, let's go back to football. Football, they want these guys want to be recruited to teams who aren't running the I formation or the wing T. They want to see to go to teams running a Tennessee type of offense. That's what's attracting them to them.
Yeah.
Now, same thing when you start talking about recruiting for basketball. They want to. These guys are coming out of high school. They want it to be their best opportunity to go in the pro level. Remember, in basketball, after 1 year in college, you can get yourself drafted and go in the NBA. So they want to be at a program that's going to be the fastest path to any potential NBA type of career. And so that's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
In other words, you're saying that the coaches today have got to go with the pro look
Yeah.
more than
I think
than
so.
they do.
Well, I think so more so in basketball than anything else because you got such a real quick possible turnover. You can be there for a year, then you're in the NBA. College is a little bit different where they got a 3-year limit before you can get drafted in the NFL.
Yeah.
And plus, in today's game, the college game is more of an open type of offense compared to the pro game. The pro game is a little bit more of a control type of offense compared to when you see the.
Hey, I'm not cutting down Rick Barnes' philosophy on the game. He's a proven great coach. He's a Hall of Famer.
I'd hire him,
and he's won a lot. He's won a lot of games, but I question, can you win with just defense, a national championship, or go to the Final Four? The only team that I've been able to see that has done that has been Syracuse. I never thought a team that would win a national championship playing a zone defense, and Boeheim won a national championship 1 year playing a zone defense. Never thought it would happen. He got away with it, and that's what he plays. He plays the 2-3 zone. He don't come out of it if they're 15 behind. Doesn't make any difference. He stays in it. That's his philosophy, and he's an outstanding coach. But is it going to get you where you need to get? So far, it hadn't. So far, since Rick Barnes has been here, it hasn't got him to that Final Four or that Elite Eight. They haven't gone to the Elite Eight either.
No.
So we'll see.
I'm not. I hate to say this, but I'm not sold on Rick Barnes. I mean, you may be a Hall of Famer and all that and everything else, but the same thing happened to him at Texas that happens here. He gets everybody all revved up, and then he don't
Right.
produce.
And
He
you know,
don't
Here's where
produce.
you are.
I hate to
I
go-
mean, you're talking about I'm not satisfied with making it to the Sweet 16 year in, year out. That's something that we've been through the spot. Tennessee would have loved just to make the tournament, much less win 2 games almost every year.
Well, I agree with you. There's
So,
no,
I mean, there's a degree of spoiling because there's so much success, and there's so much success during the season. It builds up a lot of conversation like we're having right now that we've got a shot. We could get there. And Coach Barnes hasn't gotten a team there. And maybe that's him. Maybe that's just the caliber of basketball when you get to a certain point. But, you know, it's what you said. Does defense get you in the tournament? No, not all the time, because one hot guy that can blow past your defense is enough to overdo you.
Yeah. Tony, I'll bring this point up. You know, some of the coaches that's in the college level that have been successful through time, they have been able to adjust to the times. You know,
Right.
teams that were more conservative, maybe run the football a little bit more, are now opened wide up, throwing the ball all over the place,
Sure.
putting more points up on the board because the game's advanced to that point.
Right.
Is it with a Rick Barnes or someone else or Jim Boeheim up at Syracuse? They haven't been willing to change. Has that held them back maybe a little bit, that the game has changed and evolved, but their coaching philosophies have pretty much stayed the same?
Yeah, and you know, it's hard for the coaches who've been brought up a certain way and to keep change their system, change the way they've always done things to be successful. But you see it in college as well. I mean, you see guys that have they've always been at a certain level. Then all of a sudden the alums get upset because they can't get up to the next level, and so we need to go ahead and make a change.
Hey, I played for a coach over there that was as stubborn as any of these guys. Ray Mears
Sure.
was as stubborn as they come. You're going to play with Ray Mears. You're going to play a set offense. You're going to play some transition game, and then on defense you're going to play a 1-2-2 zone. You're going to play a 1-3-1 zone. You may play some 2-3 zone. You may play some box and one zones, but you're not going to play any man-to-man. You're not going to play it. I don't care how far you're behind. That's what you're going to play. You're going to live and die by that particular sword. And guys would go into practice and say, well, we don't press and we don't play man. Well, you can't play man to man. This is why we play zone. They instilled it in everybody that we're playing zone because you don't have the tools to play man to man. Well, they don't coach it. They're not interested in coaching that. I think Rick Barnes does as good a job as any coach I've ever seen as far as developing players.
Sure.
I mean, he has done an outstanding job of bringing these players around. But it all boils down to if you don't play defense, you're not playing. You're not going to see.
Well, if you're not winning, I mean, the whole thing comes down to winning.
Right,
It's not. They don't care if you play the 4-2 or whatever it is. It don't matter. You got to win.
Yeah.
And that's the name of the game. And you can talk about how great a coach is, or you can talk about all these wonderful things. If you don't win,
Well, I think nowadays, especially in the coaching circle, if your coach takes you to a certain level, Sweet 16, Sweet 16, Sweet 16, Sweet 16, all of a sudden the alums are going to say, well, we need,
we need to move up.
Yeah, we need to get, he can't get us to the next level.
Yeah.
And then that's when you start seeing a great coach.
And we saw the same thing when I was over there. They'd say, well, Ray Mears in Tennessee, they play for second place.
Yeah.
Well, who was first? Adolph Rupp in Kentucky all those years. You're thinking, well, we're second, but who in the heck else in the Southeastern Conference is competing with Kentucky?
Right.
Nobody else, Right. So, people got a little aggravated around Tennessee. They wanted to see the next move up to the first position. But there was a lot of years that Tennessee, 66, Kentucky went to the national championship with Rump's Ruts. And they lost one game. They lost it over here at Tennessee to a really good basketball team that would have been in the NCAA tournament if they took more than just the champion, you see. That being said, anyway, Vanderbilt. Let's talk about. I hate to talk about Vanderbilt.
Do we
I
have
really
to?
do. But I tell you what, now they've lost to Colorado, lost to Vandy, lost to Florida, lost to Kentucky. They got some good wins. They got some bad wins, and this was a bad loss over in Nashville the other night. They lost 66-65, and they lost in a really bad way. They came down and they had a chance to ice the game with a couple of free throws. The first one didn't go, which was really bad. That was a bad miss. The first one, they got to hit the three, but he missed the first one, and then they come down And unfortunately, Vescovi missed the foul shot, and then he came down, and I don't know if anybody saw it on the screen or not, but the guy drove for the basket, and he was the guy that left his man to help out to try to stop the guy. Didn't really need to go in there because there was 2 Tennessee guys in there, and when he made that move in there. After Rick Barnes said, "Don't give him a 3," he left that guy in the corner, and that guy had nothing but the best look you could possibly get with less than a second to go on the clock.
Yeah, I tell you what, that play will haunt him for a long time.
Yeah,
because I tell you what,
As it should.
that was, the thing is, he lost the game with the free throws, then turned it around and he loses the game because his guy hits a 3.
And the unfortunate,
and what I don't understand is why, with 6 seconds on the clock, did Tennessee not play down on that end of the floor and stop everything?
Yeah, well, he had taken,
why?
timeout had been taken, and he told him you can't give a 3. I mean, he
Sure.
said that you
let them drive for it too.
Yeah,
that's
make
fine.
him go to the bucket, and that's what the guy did. He was going to the bucket, but he saw an opportunity to get the ball out there. Great play on his part. His part. But going back, Vescovi, he hit a couple of 3-point shots right there that put him in the league and put him in a position to win the game.
He had the 4-point play where he hit the 3 and got fouled.
Yes, that's what's
put Tennessee in control.
That's how you feel sorry for a guy right there, because if it wasn't for him, he wouldn't have been in the position to miss the free throw. But the bigger play was on the out-of-bounds play where they brought Phillips around.
Yeah.
And Vandy had all their people up there, and he had a clear shot to go in there and lay it in and go up 4 with less than 10.
Or dunk it,
and he elected to come back out with the basketball. That was a mental mistake.
That's
right
one he'll
there.
learn
Sure
from.
too.
And you could feel everybody groan because you knew what he thought was, if they don't get to me, the clock goes off and we don't have to score. But it was 10 seconds left, not 2 seconds left.
Right.
It's a world of difference when you're playing a 1-point game.
Right, but that would have put him up 4 if he scores, and then that puts the pressure on Vandy down on the other end. I don't think if he hits that shot, I don't think Vandy comes out with a game. I want
to give credit to Vanderbilt for one thing. It is incredibly difficult to commit 5 fouls in, 30 seconds?
You're right.
And they managed to get it done.
Yeah.
Without picking up a flagrant, without doing anything over the top that was going to work against them. But they managed to commit all those fouls to get Tennessee on the line.
And I was a little surprised they weren't more aggressive. I thought they fouled good, but I thought they'd be a little bit more aggressive and go after the ball, deny, and so forth. They just looked like they were just waiting for him to bring it in and then just foul.
You didn't answer my question.
You better answer.
Better answer it.
At 2.6 seconds to go in the game, and they throw the ball in, go the length of the floor.
No, they had it at half court.
Well,
they called the timeout
but
half
shouldn't
court.
you not have been playing up in somebody's face?
Yeah, you could have denied them a little bit better on the inbound
Yeah,
pass,
I mean,
but
2.6. If I can make the guy just stop, the clock's going to run out.
Right.
It doesn't make sense to me. You
No.
go back up and just let them go. They went right down the
that-
floor.
that-
Boom.
That last 2.6 seconds has probably
Yeah.
been replayed in their minds about 1,000 times by now.
I know, and it has in mind.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking 2.6 seconds. Surely I can make the guy at least stop.
Sure. At least struggle to move the ball around, but then when he came off the guy in the 3-point line, that's
I didn't understand that. I don't understand that. 2.6. I'm gonna be in somebody's face out there, making them throw it somewhere they don't want to throw it.
Sure would hope so.
Yeah.
There were some other big factors in the game. Tennessee gave up 10 threes.
Yeah.
So they get beat with a 3, but they give up 9 before that.
Yeah.
That's a big factor in the ball game. Vandy, they had 11-game losing streak against Tennessee.
Just made that was their bowl.
And they played very smart. They played smart. Tennessee let them, control the game, and then as long as you stayed in the game, it built up Vandy's confidence.
Yep.
And they shot the ball well, and they milked the clock. They shortened the game.
Yeah,
Vandy shortened the game. They did the things they needed to do, and it was a very even game. 46%. Tennessee shot 46, and Vandy shot 43, and On threes, Tennessee shot 36, Vandy shot 40. Rebounds were pretty even. Turnovers, only 9 by Tennessee, 8 by Vanderbilt.
Yeah, but still Tennessee, that game should not have even been close.
Yeah.
And, regardless if it's being played at Vandy.
Well, it's kind of like when they played Florida.
Yeah, but
that should have been a blowout.
Here's a statistic that worries me a little bit. Tennessee went to the free throw line 3 times. They went to the free throw line 3 times in this basketball game. They hit 2 of them. And I'm thinking, well, that shows you right there that there's some concern inside, because usually with your inside play, you're going to get some foul shots. And you probably didn't take the ball to the basket as well as you should, because on the drive you should pick up some fouls. That's concerning. And when I look at that foul shooting deal, they got 3. And then the Lady Vols went down to Mississippi State the other night and shot over 40 free throws and got beat.
Yeah.
Got beat shooting over 40 free throws. I'm still scratching my head on that deal.
Sometimes you just can't figure it out.
No.
You look at all the parameters and all of that stuff, and you just shake your head. So it doesn't make like a sense.
Well, we're going to talk some more Tennessee basketball here in a little bit. We'll talk a little bit more about Missouri, but it's time to turn the page. And next up is the local scoreboard with Goatee Sports Page veteran Donnie Moore and Mark It Down featuring Marcus Fitzsimmons. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Make the big play with MVP Money Tools from Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union. With KTVA ECUs, contactless debit card, direct deposits that hit up to 2 days early, credit cards that earn cashback reward points, and loans with competitive rates. Add all 4 MVP Money Tools to build your financial roster. It's everything you need to win financially. Join us now. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal Opportunity Housing Lender. Restrictions may apply. Call for details. 800-467-5427.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. Wow. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com. Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply. The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Blue Tick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Blue Tick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the local scoreboard, sponsored by Mandy B. Street Realty. Donnie Moore, the regular season basketball is winding down, buddy, and next week is district tournament play. It's for a lot of teams, it's win or go home.
Hey, you blink your eyes and this basketball season just gets over with in a hurry, doesn't it?
Yeah. I was surprised that football season was over.
I know, really.
Basketball season.
Yeah, so let's get started with our local scoreboard, sponsored by the Mandy B. Street Realty Company. We'll start out with a Thursday night game.
Now, don't give too much away here, Donnie.
I won't.
Okay.
I won't.
We have special guests today.
I'll just tell you the score.
Okay.
You know, Heritage went to Seymour Thursday night, and Seymour girls won that one 58-52. Heritage boys capitalized on that opportunity 68-36. And then we'll move on to Friday night's games. Seymour versus Anderson County hosted that one. The Seymour girls came out on top at that time, 45-31 and 74-55 in the boys contest. Compliments of Anderson County. In further action last night, Greenback traveled to Harriman, took on the Blue Devils and Lady Blue Devils. Harriman came out on top in the girls contest 43-37. And also won the boys contest 74-68. Greenback not happy about that road trip. It was a long trip.
No, that's not what you're looking for right before the tournament
not
there.
Before tournament time. In Class 4A last night, WB hosted Powell in non-district action. Took on the Panthers from Knoxville. And on senior night, the Lady Govs won after 7 losses in a row, I think it was, won 47-43. So we had some happy Lady Govs last night, Mike.
Now, was Scott Cupp in charge of that? They shoot off fireworks in the gym and have pyrotechnics and all of that for senior night?
He was so happy that he had a $1,000 shoot-off at halftime.
$1,000 shoot
$1,000 shoot-off.
Is William Blunt $1,000 poorer this morning?
Well, no, they are not. Nobody hit one from half court last night, so Scott got to keep his $1,000 last night.
And congratulations to the William Blunt Governor's boys basketball team for coming home with a district championship.
District championship.
I think there on Tuesday night they defeated Farragut.
Yeah.
They played for it there at William Blunt.
They
and
sure did.
They had a big night. They had a boys basketball reunion. I think they called it a Legends Night.
Legends Night.
They brought back former coaches and players. And
of which Mike was one.
Hats off to athletic director Scott Cupp and Lauren Riddick from the Lauren Riddick team. Lauren provided the great food, for everyone before the game. Calhoun's catered it. I mean, it was a first-class job. It was a great job, and daggum, hats off to those guys. And it became even a greater night when William Blunt pulled it out right there at the end to win the district championship. And I'll tell you what,
overtime.
Anytime you win a SEC or a district championship, and once you're playing, and we've talked about this, Coach Trail, where you're playing 2.5 months. A tournament's a little bit different because you get that momentum for a few days, but in a district championship, you got to play, or an SEC championship, you got to play 2.5 months. That's a grueling deal. And William Blunt came out this year, and that's a league that's been pretty well dominated in the past by your William Blunt, or not William Blunt, but Bearden and Farragut. So
sure.
A great job there, very refreshing. They've had a great year over there. But that league is very balanced, and it's going to be a great tournament.
You're right. It's going to be a great tournament. Well, the Govs at 26-4 this year won is kind of some gravy last night. They won the game against Powell 80-60 last night, and just as a side note, West last night beat Hardin Valley 79-73. So that Hardin Valley falls further at 21-8, so they fall further in the picture.
And this is going to be such a great tournament because William Blount has had this great year. I mean, it's been an outstanding year. But what's been impressive about them is they've been able to close.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at some of their games, 5 points, 6 points, the game's been pretty even throughout.
Yes.
But they've been able to win the games when they're on the line.
have. They
Now
sure
in the
have.
tournament, everybody gets a little bit new life. They know that they can play with William Blount. That they just got to put 4 quarters together
right.
against them. It's going to be a real interesting week over there. I think
right.
at Farragut.
You're
Yeah.
right. Over in the 2A versus 4A last night, Alcoa versus Maryville. The Alcoa girls at 27-2. Good grief, what a juggernaut these Alcoa
They're
girls
rolling
are.
right now.
They really are.
They really are.
But Alcoa girls beat Maryville last night 67-29. Just absolutely embarrassed the Lady Rebels.
Not the score you usually see
No,
from that matchup.
absolutely
And
not.
Bowman's only showing up for half of the game.
mean,
the other
yeah.
night against, I don't know who was it, Cumberland County or somebody.
Cumberland Gap.
He coached the first half, got him a technical foul the first half, then came over there to William Blount.
Yeah, came over to Legends.
Didn't even
Legends
coach the
night.
second half.
Yeah.
Well, he couldn't.
Well, he had to be there because he was a former WB coach. That's
We had to
right.
coach them all, didn't we, Coach Trail? We did. We couldn't breathe.
Well, how'd the boys do?
Well, the boys did well too. Alcoa boys at 20-8, 20-game winners this year so far. Defeated Maryville last night 54-51, and they got a little help last night too from Austin East because Austin East beat Gatlinburg Pittman 78-67 last night. AE at 20-6.
And Maryville boys basketball team is on the opposite end of William Blount. They get right down to the end. They can't seem to close, and they get on the other end of the stick.
They've
yeah,
been-
Maryville's 17-12.
I mean, I
this
can't
year.
tell you how many games
got
they've
a
lost by 3, 4, 5 points.
But they're the one. This is unusual to say about Maryville because usually they're one of those 2 or 3 that has got a top seed and everybody knows who they are. But
Right.
they're not going to have that this time. But nobody wants to play them because they've
That's true.
they've been an opportunity to win almost every game they've played, and like I said, they couldn't
And-
close some of
and
them out. But they
could.
were in the opportunity and had the
And
chance
could,
where they
too.
could
Well,
have taken
you're right.
almost any game they've been in.
Yeah.
One more item before I get away from you here. Alcoa High School junior point guard Javin Carter was named a finalist this week for the Class 2A Mr. Basketball Award to be presented on March 13th in the Murphy Center at MTSU in Murfreesboro. Carter is averaging a stout 27.3 points per game on 47.4% from the floor, 36.5% from behind the arc, and 77% from the charity stripe. He also averages 5.7 rebounds, 4.8 assists, and 2 steals per game.
He scored 62 the other night, didn't he?
He sure did.
62 points. I'm telling you right now, that basketball is hot. You know, after the game, nobody was going to touch that basketball. They're going to take that ball off with a towel.
And he's the
62
all-time
points.
They should be taking it to the trophy case with his name on it.
and
that's
he's the
probably where
all-time
it is,
leading
but
scorer for Alcoa High
I'll tell
School.
you what. Of course, you
Career.
got the 3-point shot now. That helps you out compared to the old days. But you know, somebody puts up 62. You know, that's going to get somebody's attention.
And
Indeed.
let me just say, since we're mentioning it, nothing, and not taking anything away from him because that was well rewarded. But
Oh,
when
yeah.
that list came out, I thought there was a name missing on it from William Blount, and I'm just going to say I think William Blount, for as much good news
Yeah.
as they had this week, that the politics got involved in this one,
It
and I
probably
think that was
did.
to their detriment this week.
Yeah, I agree. The Wendell kid is well worthy of being.
Well, he's got another year, doesn't he?
He does. He's a junior.
Well,
and he'll
he
come
is.
back.
He has a. You know, you would think he would play better next year, have a better year,
And he-
I would think that he'd have a better chap
I
this
thought
year.
some of the games he had played, especially during the holidays against
Yeah.
top teams in the mid-state
Quite
and
likely
against
will.
Memphis, that he had that he was proving a point against competition outside the region.
Yeah. And the fact that they're ranked high, they're not a fluke team. They're
No.
what, fourth in the
Four.
state,
Ranked 4.
Yeah.
So,
That's true.
I'm just going to kick that. I thought his name should have been on that list.
Well,
but
sometimes
he's got another year, so we'll see.
that's true. You're listening to WKCE 105.1 FM and 1180 AM Mid-Century Radio. Now we're going to kick it to our veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons for his feature, Mark It Down.
Well, thanks, Donnie. And if you were listening to the start of the last segment, and we were hitting the scoreboard, I wanted to keep it down because we got Heritage basketball in the house today, and I didn't want to take too much away because we got Coach right here with us.
True.
And for a challenging season, Coach, for a rivalry game between Heritage and Seymour to come out with the win, that had to feel good on Thursday night.
It did. We played really well. We jumped on them early and didn't let them up. Shot the ball pretty well. And we've been playing better of late. The wins haven't shown. I mean, on Tuesday night, we were up at Bearden over there in the second half. We were up 4. We were up in the second half the other night at Farragut on the road. We're just hitting the wall. We went through a lot of injuries. I've never had players get concussions at a rate like we've had this year. We've had 3 players go down with concussions the second half of the season, and they're all guys that we depend upon. So we've had to redefine some roles during the second half of the season, which has been kind of difficult. And you guys alluded to the fact the league that we play in
it isn't
necessarily easy. So, like I said, we've had to redefine some roles and go forward with it. But I'll give these guys credit. They've not backed down. They've not thrown in the towel. They've played throughout the year. They come to practice every day. They work hard, and we're still playing hard. And we've won 13 games. We're 13-16. So I'm proud of what they went through, and we still got district tournament to come. So anything can happen, like you guys were talking about. It's win or go home.
There's 2 things there, and I'm torn which one I want to follow up on first. But let me get to one that's something you said that I've noticed, and I think we've talked about it in here a couple Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
And that is we are seeing a lot more concussions in basketball at all levels, but especially on the high school level. Are the guys just getting up farther, or is it just the elevation? Because it doesn't feel like the game has gotten that much more physical compared to what it was 10 years ago, but it feels like we're seeing more concussions and more people hitting the floor than we used to.
With 2 of the 3 of ours, they were for physical play. They were contact with other players, getting hit with elbows or things like that. The last one that we got was a guy going up for a rebound and coming down and actually hitting the floor. So in some ways that kind of gets to what you're talking about a little bit. But I've never seen anything like it really in my time, just to have 3 in a row like that within about a 3-week period. It's just never something I've experienced.
Well, I'm going to say I felt it, and maybe we're just noticing it more than we did, which is, if that's the case, that's a great thing. But because I don't want those things undiagnosed, but it just feels like there's more of them going on across high school basketball this year than we've seen before.
Yeah.
But how did it feel last night for you to be? You're in the fourth quarter and you got a big lead, and you're not having to fret about a whole lot of the stuff. You can kind of relax a little bit and kind of just let them play. Was that a nice feeling rather than trying to hold on and grit it out?
Yeah, we're coming in the fourth quarter, and it kind of gives you a chance to, rotate some guys in and do some different things. And they pretty much zoned us the whole night. So we did a pretty good job moving the basketball and knocking some shots down. Eli had a big game. He had 26. Grant, for whatever reason, they weren't going to let him play the other night. He got in some foul trouble. But what Lily did play, he's very effective on both ends of the floor. So I was real proud of the way that we played, because you never know going over there. We handled them pretty easy at our place early in the year. You don't know what to expect. They were coming off of a win Tuesday, so you don't know.
Well, you pointed them out. Give us a little bit more about 2 players you brought in, Eli Williams, Grant Campbell. Introduce these guys for us.
Well, I mean, they're good basketball players, and they get it honest. Grant is a senior post player. I actually played against Grant's dad way back in the Stone Ages when he played at Maryville and I played at Central. Grant's our leading rebounder, leading shot blockers, probably one of the leading shot blockers in the state of Tennessee, if I was to guess. I mean, he multiple shot blocks a game. Good force for us offensively. He's played 4 years. Eli, freshman guard, has had to play the point. He's leading us in scoring. Outstanding shooter. He's had some big games for us on the offensive end this year. Going to be a big part for us going forward in the future.
And you've set me up perfectly here, but, good young guard, big guy in the middle with a lot of experience. How much Purdue basketball do you take notes off of right now?
Who? Purdue?
Purdue. How much do you just look at what they're doing and put a note, hey, that might work?
Yeah. I mean, their style, we kind of play a little bit, I guess, locked in. We play more in the half court, I guess you would say. And we've got another big, Grant's 6'7", depending on if you ask him, he's 6'8". And we've got another big who's 6'5", who's, kind of big inside as well. So we're more of a half-court team. So there probably are some similarities there with that.
Well, let me ask him. You mentioned the shot blocking. So how much of that is usually good shot blockers are focused on it. Like they practice it, they look at it, they look for that block. Is that something you do when you work in your work off the court? Is to try to find that shot and try to find the block as it's coming?
No, sir. It just all happens at once, and then they come down the lane. I'll just block it.
And so, how tall?
6'8".
6'8".
I knew that was coming.
Is that with all 3 pairs of socks on?
Yep.
Okay. So
Whatever it takes, huh, Grant?
whatever it takes for that measurement. But Grant, this season, it's not been like if you're going to draw up my perfect senior season, this wasn't how it's worked out so far in the regular season. But kind of like what we were talking about a little bit earlier with some other teams, y'all have been real competitive. You've had leads against almost all the top 4 seeds at one point when you played them, so you know you can play with them. So how do you all see yourselves going into the tournament? How do you all see what you can do?
I think that we really do have a big chance to make it past the first or second round of it, and all we got to do is just go out and get the job done and execute.
Seniors usually have to play a role in that because coach can't be everywhere. What are the leaders on the team doing as far as what is your attitude towards this? Is this a we can win this, not back down sort of thing, or is this what kind of role do you all take in this?
I mean, I try and push everyone, encourage them, tell them keep shooting the ball even though it's not going in. Just try and get everyone pumped up for the next game.
What do you do in the case of, we'll pick on the guy next to you, but they haven't been to a district tournament before. You got freshmen that haven't been that postseason, haven't been in that same gym 3 nights in a row if you're having a good week. How do you kind of tell these guys and get them ready for it? What do you have to pass along?
Shake off the nerves and go out and play as good as you can.
Does that work, Eli?
Sometimes.
I'll give him credit. He's not afraid of a whole lot. He's, and I think he kind of gets out on us. I talked about Grant and his dad. Eli's dad played at Heritage. He played at Marshall. He coached at Heritage. He kind of gets it on us. He's not afraid of a whole lot.
Well, Coach, you got the brackets that are out there. And we're pretty locked in at this point. So give us the breakdown. What does Heritage have to do going into the tournament?
Well, we've got Hardin Valley, and if you go back and look at both games that we played with them, we were very, very competitive with them. They beat us by 5 at our place. We led most of the first half. Over there, we were down, I think, 7 or 9 going in the fourth quarter. Our problem in both those games is we weren't able to score at a consistent level. The last game, what kind of got us was taking care of the basketball, and we give up entirely way too many offensive rebounds. I mean, we played a lot of zone. We didn't do a very good job of identifying a guy and blocking out, and they got a bunch of offensive rebounds. But we've been in both games. In the first game, I thought we had a good chance to win. But like I said, we've had to play without some guys, and we're kind of getting to the point now where we're getting everybody back. So it's like I said, it's a one-game season. I feel like it's a pretty good matchup for us playing them. So we'll see how it goes Thursday.
Now we're always fond of we've got somebody like an Alcoa or William Blunt's having that kind of season in here. You're playing so and so for the 3rd time. It's hard to get that 3rd win.
Right.
That also has a flip side.
It does.
Hardin Valley's beaten you twice. It's hard to beat somebody 3 times.
It is.
On the other side of that, you can take that as kind of a motivation.
You can, and at this point in the year, everybody's got a pretty good idea what everybody's doing. You got a little extra time, so you can game plan a little bit more, and of course they can game plan for you. When you look at it, I mean, you guys were referring to it earlier. I think they've won 21 games. Really take a look. More of the pressure's on them than it is for us. So they're obviously the higher seed, and they want to advance to go to the region. We want to do the same thing. So, like I said, we'll see how it goes Thursday.
Well, let me get the quick plug in for the district tournament.
Yeah.
Give us the location and your tip-off time.
We play Thursday, 7:30 against Hardin Valley, and of course, the district tournament is at Farragut. They'll host all rounds of it.
Okay, because that format we always assume people know, but we've played with it so many times over the years as to where there's going to be host sites or pod sites or this round or that round. So at Farragut, Thursday night, come see Heritage in Hardin Valley. Maybe they'll get some more people to yell at Eli on the court. You say he doesn't back down from anything. What was the? I'll talk a little bit about last night. You had a team that you'd already beaten, but this is a team that you got guys that can cross lines either ways depending on what schools they're going to there, and it's kind of like Maryville in that way, and William Blount that it's a border school even though it's not in Blount County. How much was it for you all to get that win last night and to finish off this regular season with the win?
It's a great ending point for the season, to really get a win to go into district tournament, especially at that place because, their student section is right behind the goal.
Yes, it is.
That's a rough atmosphere.
They knocked out that gym wall to add that section, actually.
Yeah.
They didn't used to be there. But they can't shake the goal. That's one thing because have you ever been in a game where they've had those sections and the goal's still mounted in the floor? They can actually
shake it a little bit.
Not that anybody allows that to go on. Just saying that watch some game films here and there. But you've got a whole fresh start. So what do you do on Monday when you start getting ready for district tournament?
We really just got to get ready for Hardin Valley. Really got to focus on it. Focus on the game plan. We got to go in, execute. We got to try to pick up a little momentum to going into the tournament, try to win a few games.
You had some experiences during the holidays where you had the Christmas tournaments and holiday tournaments and that sort of thing. How much does that help right now? Because you're looking at, if you win on Thursday, you got to turn around and play again real quick, and you're going to have an opponent you're not going to have time to scout. How much does that experience from the holiday tournaments help you at this point?
I mean, it helped a little bit, but, district tournament's a whole nother beast, It's the competition's really going to get hot once you get higher in the tournament,
Well, Coach, you know what the workload is, so they can't look ahead, but can Coach look ahead in his mind that if you can win on Thursday, when do you immediately start grabbing film on Thursday night?
Well, by this point, we've got a pretty good idea what people are doing, and we can get film. It's getting film so much easier now. Everything's it's electronic. You can have it in 5 minutes. So we've got multiple films on anybody possibly that we could play. So by this point, we feel pretty good about what we're going to see and being prepared. So we go ahead and start developing game plans. So if we're fortunate enough to win on Thursday, we would play Farragut on Saturday. So we would have 48 hours to prepare for that one. So we feel pretty confident in being prepared.
Well, I appreciate y'all coming in, and guys, I appreciate you getting up this morning, come in, visit on Saturday with us. I want to close out one last question, Coach. It's the curveball. Behind the scenes, when it comes down to getting practice time, does Coach Howard ever pull the trump card? It's my court. My name's on it.
No, he really doesn't. We've got the 2 gyms, so we just rotate every other day. One's on the main floor, one's on the back floor. So no, he never pulls that trump card at all.
And if he did, you wouldn't tell us, right?
No, I probably wouldn't.
Okay. We appreciate you coming in, and we wish all the best of luck in district tournament. Go upset some people for us, and we'll be watching. And Mike, I guess go ahead and turn the page.
Okay, Marcus, thank you. We'll take a timeout here, and when we return, the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment will be up. You're listening to the Goatee Sports page, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
Dunkin' has what you need to conquer the day. So if you want to go from, I don't got this, to, I got this, well, then get this. A bold, smooth espresso drink from Dunkin'. Like a layered velvety caramel macchiato, a rich chocolatey mocha latte, or a creamy non-dairy oat milk latte. Because this day isn't going to conquer itself. No, you're going to do that. Take a sip of You Got This with Dunkin' Espresso drinks. Order ahead on the app plus earn rewards. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary.
For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensonTire.net. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. Wow. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment. I'm back here with Coach Ray Trail and veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons, Carson Newman assistant football coach Tony Iruli, and Blount County Sports Hall of Famer Donnie Moore. And let's talk a little bit more about the Tennessee Vols. They got Missouri coming in here today. I believe that game's at 6 o'clock. I think it's on the SEC network. If anybody knows otherwise, let me know, but I think that's what it is. So it's a 6 o'clock.
That's correct.
6 o'clock start. Missouri comes in here. They're 18-6 overall. They're 6-5 in the SEC, and they're in search of a marquee win. They're not ranked at the present time, even though they've got an outstanding overall mark. The Dennis Gates, their new coach, Coach Trail, done an outstanding job there. They're drawing real well at home. If you've watched any of Missouri's home games, they got that arena packed again. Looks like the old days of Missouri basketball when they were a power, back when Norm Stewart was coaching. That goes back a way.
I was there. I coached at Missouri at 81, 82.
Norm Stewart was there.
Norm Stewart was there.
Great
they had
guy.
Stepanovich was a big old center, and they had another real great shooting. Flagley was a guard or something like that, a great shooter. But during those days at Norm Stewart, Missouri was really one of those Midwestern national powers. It was good to see.
Well,
I know Ray knows all about that. Him being an Arkansas.
That's
guy.
close there.
That's close. Missouri is above Arkansas.
Coach Trail, this is a big game for Missouri to come in here and try to get a marquee win. I think the Vols are going to probably see a pretty good effort out of them today, huh?
I'm not worried about Missouri. I just wonder about the effort that we're going to have. That's what the main thing. And, we're going to have to put it together because they have a good team. I've watched them play some on the TV there, and I tell you what, now they're an aggressive,
they can play
in your face team.
This is a team that's a lot, Marcus, to me, is similar to Auburn. They average 82 points a game. They get up and down with their transition game. That's a big part of the game, just like it was with Auburn. Yeah. They got 3 players in double figures, Kobe Brown at 16.3 and Demoy Hodge at 14.1 and DeAndre Golston at 10.2. And I think they got another player about 9. So they got really good balance in their scoring. And those guys are going to get the majority of the minutes. But I think Missouri's going to come in here with some confidence. I look for a pretty good basketball game today, huh?
I would have thought I had this one as a tough game for Tennessee, as one of those backstretch games where Tennessee might be favored, but this is a 50-50 game. I mean, Missouri, if they can get out and run, they can beat you. And while Tennessee's been good at that, and they were excellent at it last week, and we saw what happened there, Missouri can also execute a little bit better in the half courts than Auburn can. So they're a tougher matchup, I think, for the Vols. And I think they're one of those teams that everybody's happy to get a win against them in the regular season. But, again, nobody wants to see them in their bracket come SEC tournament.
Yeah, I think you brought up a good point, quote Coach Hersburn. All right, confidence. Yeah. Right now, Tennessee is they're not very confident. They're really not quite sure exactly who they are or what they are, and so they're lacking a little bit of confidence going into this game.
It's almost unbelievable that you got going into the week number 4 team in the country, 5 team, Tennessee 6 team.
Yep.
But they've been in the 4 to 2 to been in the top 10 practically the whole way. And here we are with 2 losses out of 3 and a team that's sort of looking for some identity, Coach Trail. Who are we?
Yeah, and could have lost all 3.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, they're playing a team that's looking for identity too.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be who wants it the worst, the most.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't shock me to see Missouri beat them. I tell you what, I watched Missouri play the other night, and I was very impressed. And they spread the ball around. They don't have no 1 or 2. They can all shoot good.
Right.
And I tell you what, they're a complete team. And
you can't say that about Tennessee that they can all shoot well.
No,
I don't know what kind of game we're going to see here, but it almost looks like the Auburn game plan because you got a team in Missouri that they average 82 points a game. They only turn the ball over 11 times a game. It's great.
Good.
I mean, they're not beating. That tells you right there they're not beating themselves.
That's right.
They shoot 48% from the floor, as a team, and almost 36% on three-point shots and around 77% at the free throw line. This is a pretty well-balanced basketball team coming in here.
It is. I mean, that's what we're just really kind of talking about. Right now, they're coming. They're solid. They have confidence in what they do offensively. They play solid defense. They're coming into Knoxville as a confident program right now. Right now, that's what's kind of wavering with the Tennessee. I think the momentum's on the Missouri side. Tennessee overall is a better team, but that word confidence, is going to be a big factor going into this game.
Well, Marcus, one thing that Tennessee's got going for them is they're tough at home. They're tough to beat over here in Thompson Bowling Arena.
Sure.
And Texas came in here and
sure.
They lost by 11. That's a pretty good Texas team, and really the only game that they've stumbled in here is Kentucky.
Texas is ranked higher than the Vols.
Yeah, but that Kentucky game is
Texas
a bad loss.
Texas has played better since losing.
You're right.
Yes, they have.
Tennessee kind of won that game, and it wasn't March, and it wasn't the entrance to the Sweet 16. They just acted like that they won that, and everything since that's been kind of weird.
Plus, wasn't Texas kind of in the midst where they had a coaching change? Their coach.
Right.
Well,
got
yes and no, but they played that game. We'd had the interim coach.
Beard had to hit the road.
Yeah, but that
the
other guy,
they've done a good coach has been coaching for a while.
They fought through that, and they've played really well. They've got some people that can shoot the ball. Texas does.
Yeah.
Good outside shooting team.
Yeah, they do.
They'd be tough on a neutral court. You get them in the tournament on a neutral court, they'd be tough. Donnie Moore,
yes, sir.
Tennessee today. They're 3 games behind in the league now to Alabama, and Alabama just looks like they're unstoppable, unbeatable.
Well, we'll
and
find out. They've got their turn with Auburn today.
I understand that, but let's talk about where Tennessee is in their game today and in the conference. What they've got to do to get headed back in the right direction. If Tennessee beats Missouri today, and Bama loses at Auburn, Bruce Pearl upsets Bama down there, and Tennessee beats Bama in here Tuesday, the Vols are right back in the SEC race, Donnie.
They are. You're right.
They're right back in it. They'd be one game out.
Sure.
You
but
can always depend on Bruce for a favor.
But I don't think, Coach Trail, I don't think Tennessee to win this league with 3 losses at this point right now.
It's always tough.
They can't afford to lose another game.
No.
They might be able to lose one more and tie. But looking at Alabama's schedule and what they got left and what Tennessee's got left.
Tennessee's got a very, very tough closing couple of weeks. Yeah. I wouldn't want to say that
last part.
I wouldn't want to say you've got to go unbeaten from this point on and expect as a goal. I mean, you're not going to want to lose one, but you can't let yourself be in the position to feel like you crushed and lost everything because you lose one game against who they have left.
Yes.
I'm just saying if they've got any visions of that being one of their goals, which it is, to win the Southeastern Conference, I don't think they can afford another loss.
No,
they can't.
I mean, if they lose, they might be able to lose one more and tie. But I don't think they can win it outright with 4 losses.
I mean, it'd be nice to replicate what they did last year, but nobody does that. That's why it was
unique.
It was unique last year. And really, what do you I mean, if you're first place versus second place outside of a ring and saying you're the champion, I get that. But if you're second place, all you're talking about is what color jersey you're going to wear on Sunday in the SEC title game. That's what I mean. What you're playing, if the goal is to win the national championship, we haven't seen many national champions that are also conference champions the last 10 years.
Well, I understand that, but I'll go back to this, and I know a lot of people disagree with me, and there's a lot of former players over there that disagree. Of course, a lot of them didn't win regular season championships either, and they had, like you're saying, a pretty good run in the tournament. They made it to the Elite Eight or whatever. So their philosophy is, well, you're remembered for what you do in the NCAA tournament and how far you get. But my argument is if you play 2 months or 2.5 months of basketball and win an SEC championship, Coach Iruli, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I don't know. I'd rather have a national championship, don't get me wrong, but there's only one national champion. And I know going into the tournament and, say, well, we went to the Sweet 16 or we went to the Elite Eight or we went to the Final Four. No, I'm not saying that doesn't mean anything. But an SEC championship ring after a whole season of work, I think that means a lot.
Well, like I said, I mean, it's a tough physical conference.
It's a tough deal.
It's like you mentioned. It's like it's a basketball conference made up a lot of like football-like type of guys.
Well,
I don't want to downgrade an SEC championship. I'm just saying that you're 3 games back with 3 weeks to go.
Yeah.
That's a lot of ground to close. You need a lot to happen with Alabama, and you need a lot to happen with yourself. And I don't want you to sacrifice everything just to get that ring.
Yep. So you're saying just go into every game, try to
go
win
in every game, try to win, but
get better in every game.
If you're looking at, I'm going to ask somebody to kind of push it because they're not feeling well. Don't do that. Don't put them in a position where it's going to
compromise.
Put them in a worse position for the next weeks that follow.
Yeah. Well, here's what they got. They got Alabama coming in here next Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And then they don't have a lot of turnaround time. And this is a little tough, too, because they played Vandy on Wednesday night, and now they're back in here Saturday playing again. You see, you don't have there's a little bit of difference between playing Tuesday and then Saturday. You got an extra day in there. Right. Now, next week, they get the same deals they got this week. They got Bama, tough game on Wednesday, and then they got to go to Rupp next Saturday. But they got Missouri today. They got Alabama. They got Kentucky next week. They got Texas A&M coming up that's on the road. They got Arkansas, and Arkansas may be playing as well as anybody right now. I think they've won, 6 or 7 straight after starting off 1-5 or something like that.
They're playing really well.
Yeah, the last couple of games I've seen them, they've been impressive. Went up to Kentucky and just put them in the deathbed up there the other night. I mean, they just drilled them. So they're playing really well. That's going to be a tough game. And really the only one you got in there is South Carolina, Marcus.
And
Who knows about them?
If you're Tennessee, South Carolina's not a name you want to take for granted.
I'm sorry I brought that up.
For many reasons.
That
It's a good thing Troy's not here. He'd be convulsing right now.
Well, maybe that's not the only breather left in here.
I don't think you've got a breather left. I really don't. That's why I said I think this last 3-week stretch, that's asking a lot because you count today 7 really tough games to play.
Yeah.
It's not like the 7 games where you had some cupcakes mixed in and a holiday off and all. We're down to the stretch run.
Right. Yeah. Well, who would have ever thought, Tony, that we'd be sitting here talking Kentucky, whether they'd be in the NCAA tournament or not, but that deal's not looking real good up there in Lexington right now.
No, they started off starting off the season not very well, and they got a little momentum, won some games, but late they're struggling again, and so they're in unfamiliar territory for Kentucky basketball right now.
Yeah. Well, the league, Coach Trail, we talked about this. There's a lot of difference between that top 5-6 teams and the bottom 5 or 6 teams in this SEC. You got Georgia started off pretty well, but they've kind of faltered, and then Mississippi State, Ole Miss, LSU, South Carolina. You got about 5 teams right there. Vanderbilt, they're down in that 6 mix, but even though they've lost some tough games, he's got them playing fairly well over there. They played a really, really good game against Tennessee there the other night, and they've played well at home.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt has. They've had some difficulties on the road.
Yeah.
And Florida with Castleton, at times has looked pretty good.
Well, they beat us.
Now they haven't looked very good against Alabama. I think Vandy got beat about 40 or so down there at Alabama.
Almost 50. It was like 47 points.
And Florida got beat pretty bad down there last week.
Couldn't tell if it was a football score or a basketball score.
Yeah.
Well, nobody looks good at Alabama now.
No.
I'll tell you that right now.
No.
I'll tell you what, that team they've got, they go up and down the floor. I mean, they look like milers on a 100-yard dash deal.
I tune in for Alabama just to see if the backboards and the goals are going to make it through the game. Did anybody else get that feeling? They start from mid-court and they leap and they just go right in there and dunk it from about mid-court markers. I mean, they got some
their strides are about as long as this table here. I mean, when they go down the floor, they cover some ground.
And that backboard just goes, the whole deal just rattles.
So, reminds me whenever Ray and I get a chance to be on the basketball court.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
That's exactly, you're about to come up with that one.
That was exactly what I was thinking.
I mean, it's high tempo, high energy the entire time.
Absolutely, and they lower the goals to about 4.5 feet.
Yeah.
Well, that's
you
what I
do them
mean.
double pumps.
And I got to bring my asthma spray with me.
Hey, you were talking about when you're playing the grandkids in the driveway on the little 4-foot goal, right? That's what.
And I tell you what, I can dunk on them too.
They
don't push me around at all.
I'm looking at Tony down there in his physique. He kind of looks like all these players now. He's got them big old arms, big shoulders. Looks like a football type player. I think he'd work right in. Tony, you don't have to shoot at all, buddy. We're going to train you to play defense. That's all we want out of you, boy.
Yeah, shooting part of the basketball game.
No, you don't have to shoot. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, just shove some people around out there.
All you got to do is push. Get in there and push.
Yeah. Hey, it's time for a break, and when we return, it's Sports Headlines with Donnie Moore and the Tennessee Smoky Spotlight. You're listening to the Goatee Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit denzocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply.
Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
Make the big play with MVP Money Tools from Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union. With KTVA ECUs, contactless debit card, direct deposits that hit up to 2 days early, credit cards that earn cashback reward points, and loans with competitive rates. Add all 4 MVP Money Tools to build your financial roster. It's everything you need to win financially. Join us now. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal Opportunity Housing Lender. Restrictions may apply. Call for details. 800-467-5427.
The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Blue Tick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Blue Tick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service. For over 50.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is the Greenfield gunner, Mike Edwards, and it's time for sports headlines. Donnie Moore, it's been an enlightening day. I'm going to turn it over to you.
You know, it has been an enlightening day. That's a good way to put it.
We
Mike.
haven't solved any problems, but it's been enlightening.
Whenever you're around Ray, there's going to be a lot of enlightenment going on.
Well, Donnie, before you do headlines, I just want to ask, did anybody notice that the headlines in the Daily Times look different now?
Hey, I noticed starting Thursday, you got a new font?
We have
Is it a new font?
The new design on the paper that came out middle of the week.
I noticed that, and I like it.
I wondered about that. I had to change my glasses 3 times to see if I was reading the right paper.
Well, the thing was you could read it.
Yeah,
I've
it's
got to
much
tell
more
you,
readable.
20 years, this is the first time I've ever heard people call in and say that the paper was more readable.
I thought so,
and
too.
We worked real hard on that to try to find something that everybody that's got glasses can make
Now
it a little bit easier.
Marcus.
Now, they just tried that last week, so next week they're going to go to Old English.
Oh, with the little scripts and all that.
It is.
See how that works.
It's much more reader-friendly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to give a shout out to that if anybody noticed it.
I did notice that starting Thursday, right?
Yep.
Starting last Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I noticed that.
and if you
And there's
liked
complete.
I agree.
There's complete sentences too, as well.
Yeah.
Well, now
And
noun, verbs,
Troy's in charge of the sentences, so I can't hold anything to do with that.
All right.
But
No, as long as Troy's still there, it may or may not be. Because he called the Seymour, one of the headlines said, called the Seymour Lady Tigers.
There was a bad mistake there, and I can't put that on Troy. I know that wasn't Troy's fault.
No,
but,
probably not.
What I like about the Times is those birthdays they put in there. I can always go through the birthdays and famous people. Well, he's older than me. That's good. He's older. He's older. He's older.
I checked the obituaries and I go, I outlived him. I've outlived him.
As long as you're not in them, you're okay.
I'm on a roll right now.
Yeah, that's me. As long as I'm not in them, I'm okay.
Well, I didn't mean to take away from your headlines.
No, it's
No,
okay.
that's
That was a good point. I
Good
meant
intro.
to say something about that myself.
Good intro.
All right, let's get to some sports headlines. There were 4 finalists for this season's most valuable player in the National Football League. They were Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen, all quarterbacks. And you notice I only said 3. There's one more. Wide receiver Justin Jefferson, the Associated Press Offensive Player of the Year. Out of a possible 50 votes, Josh Allen received 1, Jalen Hurts received 1, and Patrick Mahomes received 48.
Ooh.
Mahomes led Kansas City to a 14-3 record, completed 67.1% of his passes, and posted league-high marks with 5,250 yards, 41 touchdowns, and a 77.6 ESPN quarterback rating. Who do you suspect might have gotten the MVP? It might have been Patrick Mahomes.
Now, wait a minute. This is why I question this. It's the most valuable player, not
Yes,
best
it is.
player.
I will.
And that's the name of the award, the most valuable player?
It is.
Okay, so Mahomes goes out in a playoff game, and all his team does without him is drive 98 yards for the longest scoring drive in their postseason history.
True.
Allen goes out for a game, and the Buffalo Bills look like they need to change divisions and play down there with New Orleans and Tampa Bay because they looked horrible without him. So who's more actually valuable to their team?
Well, I can't argue that. But
Well,
nevertheless.
I tell you what, I think the quarterback at Chicago.
Chicago.
No.
Justin Fields?
Huh?
You mean Justin Fields at Chicago?
Philadelphia?
No, the
Who
guy.
are you talking about?
The other guy, Philadelphia.
Philadelphia?
That's Hurts.
That's
Yeah.
Hurts.
Well, he got one vote.
Well,
got one
He got a vote.
Now, I tell you what, you watch him play, that guy is as complete as Mahomes is.
Well,
And
If he wins the Super Bowl, now everybody will say,
Yeah,
"Well, we should have waited to vote after the
That's
Super
exactly
Bowl."
right.
yeah,
They
he
should.
is,
Yeah.
but
They
I don't care. He's now that the GOAT has retired, he's the GOAT.
Who?
No, nobody's
Brady.
the GOAT
Well,
at the moment.
Yeah.
We-
Maybe not the GOAT, but the best
Brady's
now.
the GOAT.
He's
until
the best
somebody does
quarterback in the NFL.
Right.
That
right,
just means
right.
he's the best quarterback in the NFL.
He is.
The GOAT is
He
when
is.
you win 7 Super Bowls, we'll talk about whether you're
Greatest
the GOAT
of
or
all
not.
But anyway, the Chiefs are going to play the Jalen Hurts-led Philadelphia Eagles tomorrow in Super Bowl 57, starting at 6:30.
And I'm ready for commercials.
Oh, me too.
I'm ready for the commercials.
I'm good for it. I'm good for it.
The nine new members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame were welcomed on Thursday of this week and will be enshrined in Canton, Ohio during a ceremony in August. The 2023 Pro Football Hall of Fame class includes, I'll give you their name, their position, and their team or teams from which they were remembered most. Okay, here's the list. Rondé Barber, defensive back from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yes.
Right.
Great player. Great player.
Good job. Darrelle Revis, cornerback, New York Jets.
Yep.
Yep. Joe Thomas, linebacker, Cleveland Browns.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Thomas, linebacker, Miami
Dolphins.
Dolphins. Good
Yeah,
job.
great player.
DeMarcus Ware, linebacker, Dallas Cowboys. Don Coryell, coach, Cardinals,
Yeah.
Chargers.
Yeah, great coach.
He sure
I
was.
mean, he was the guy that really kind of started that transition from I formation, ISO, then more in the passing game.
Yep.
Air Coryell.
Yep, Air Coryell.
Bill Walsh.
You're right.
Never smiled though.
Never
No,
smiled.
he
though.
was
You
he was
reckon
not.
you could ever get him to laugh at a joke or anything?
I don't know.
But his coaching tree, Bill Walsh was an assistant for
Yeah.
him, and so
Yeah.
he was absolutely a great one.
You're right. Last three. Chuck Howley, linebacker, Dallas
Dallas
Cowboys.
A lot of linebackers in there. That's good.
You're right.
Yes.
Joe Klecko, defensive tackle, New York Jets.
Jets. That's right.
And Ken Riley, defensive back, played his entire career with Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
Not one quarterback and not one kicker.
You're right.
Okay.
One quarterback and not one kicker.
Lon would be happy, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Lon is smiling
So
down today.
there was what, about five linebackers?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3.
Good year for linebackers.
Good year for linebackers. Texas and Oklahoma are joining the SEC a year earlier than expected in 2024 instead of 2025.
Got the heck out of town.
The two schools now owe the remaining Big 12 schools a combined $100 million in exit fees, according to reports.
Yeah, that's one game.
Yeah, checks in the mail.
Checks in the mail. Big oil companies. Here it comes.
That's why they jacked up prices of oil.
That's right.
They took care of it.
The 2000
Oklahoma, Texas, yeah.
Yep. The 2024 season is also the time that the college football playoffs is scheduled to move from 4 teams to 12 teams. It should be an interesting season.
Yeah. So obviously they're all going to be in the SEC West. Or is it,
No,
how are they going to do?
They're going to reshuffle.
They're going to reshuffle the conference, and they haven't announced the final decision.
Haven't announced yet.
But
I think they're going to just have one league.
you know,
It could be.
They need.
Yeah,
they
that's what
needed,
they've talked about.
The
anyway.
Big 12 needs to go ahead and make that. They need to expedite that for their own purposes because they've got teams coming in.
Yeah.
And some of those teams, they don't want any part of playing Oklahoma and Texas. That wasn't
No.
why they joined the Big 12 at this
Exactly.
point. They were joined because and enticed to come in because those guys were not
Because
going to be on the
they're
schedule.
getting out of Dodge.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If I was in the SEC West and they're going to keep it sort of like they are right now, I'd say, Texas and Oklahoma look a little more east to me.
That's right.
Well, that's not,
the way that West looks like right now.
Well, they got Missouri. They got
Far
Missouri
enough
in the
west,
East.
you come back east.
Yeah, boy, that the West wouldn't be too happy about taking them two teams.
No, they have already got plenty of teams in
Yeah,
the West.
yeah.
I tell you what.
They do. You're right.
So they're talking about more conference
No, they're
games?
talking about just one big league.
just one big league.
But I'm talking about more conference
Yes.
games against each other.
Right,
Yes.
nine.
Nine.
I
Nine,
think.
yeah. They're
9
going to
out
go
of
to
12.
they're going to go to 9.
Well, the 5th edition of the World Baseball Classic is set to begin on March 8 and run through March 21. This year's tournament has been expanded from 16 to 20 teams and will take place in Miami, Phoenix, Tokyo, and Taichung, Taiwan. L.A. Angels star Mike Trout and L.A. Dodgers star Clayton Kershaw headline the Team USA roster. Team USA plays in Pool C alongside Canada, Colombia, and Mexico. The manager of Team USA is Mark DeRosa. His coaching staff includes Ken Griffey Jr., Andy Pettit, Jerry Manuel, Lou Collier, Dino Ebel, and Dave Righetti.
Did you say
Pretty
this
good
one
name.
played in Kowtung, Taiwan?
Cowtongue.
Cowtown?
Yeah, pretty close. That's
Okay.
pretty close.
Now, so is Major League Baseball suspending their baseball season during this time, or are they still playing?
I would imagine they'll. I don't know. That's a good question. I haven't.
Yeah, because you're losing your best players, basically.
Yeah, there's a lot of them in there. A lot of major leaguers in the on the roster
Wonder
too.
what they're doing, or they're
Well, it's more during spring training because I don't think the season kicks off
I don't think it kicks off until April.
Yeah, April 1.
Yeah.
Into March.
Taichung.
Taichung.
Taichung. Yeah, not
Okay.
Kowtoung.
Okay.
Vol Chase Dolander is Bleacher Report's preseason pitcher of the year in college baseball. In fact, the folks there say Dolander is without question the best pitcher in the country. This is a quote. His combination of elite stuff and elite track record is unmatched in college baseball. He has a mid to upper 90s fastball, a wipeout plus slider, an above average curveball, and above average changeup. End of quote. The Baseballs are picked to finish first in the SEC East Division ahead of Florida.
But we're not the pick
Pretty
to
high
win,
praise.
Not the pick to win the conference.
who's the pick?
LSU.
LSU's the pick to win the conference. And the thing that really, if you want to take offense, you're defending national champions in the SEC and didn't get one vote to finish and to win
That's
the
true.
conference.
That's true. Well, in 100 days, assuming Mother Nature cooperates, NASCAR Cup Series drivers will once again compete at historic North Wilkesboro Speedway, which is returning to Major League Racing for the first time since 1996. Officials say work crews are ahead of schedule and expect to have renovations and additions complete by early May. The All-Star race at North Wilkesboro is scheduled for May 21st. Mike?
That's a short track.
It is, yeah.
So
half mile.
Half mile.
Yeah,
or
you'll
mile.
need a lot of hammers to get all the dents out of those cars. When they
Yeah,
come in.
boy.
There'll be a lot of bumping.
And
out
you
of
know they're
rubber
not
now.
refinishing; they're just repairing the original surface right there.
Yeah.
So they're gonna race on the original surface. Just fill in the potholes.
I'm a
and
traditionalist, so
they'll
North
have new
Wilkes-
cars on
North-
an old track.
North Wilkesboro is a famous track.
It
Got
sure
a lot of
is.
Wow.
NASCAR history, so I'm glad to see them going back there.
Dale Earnhardt raced there.
Are they going to end up with that stuff like when you drive over new pavement on the interstate and you hit the crunch, 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 crunch? Is that going to be happening to these NASCARs? They're going to be throwing that stuff on each other's
These
windshields?
brand new high tech cars are going to race on that old surface right there. That's going to be interesting. But we're going to see them race at North Wilkesboro
Yeah.
once again since
And
1996.
they're not too far off from Daytona either. It's
No,
getting
they're
close.
not.
Last
It's
sprint.
real
coming up here in
close.
another week or so.
Sure is. Well, that's all for this week's sports headlines. Now let's bring the Tennessee Smokies spotlight into focus. Back to you, Gunner.
We're back with former UT assistant football coach Ray Trail, veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons, and Blount County Sports Hall of Famer Donnie Moore, and Carson Newman assistant football coach Tony Aruli. Tomorrow, the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 57. The game will be played at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Kickoff is set for 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and both teams come into the contest with identical 16-3 records. And going into the game, there are a lot of storylines. And Coach Iruli, I'll start with you. Andy Reid could win his second Super Bowl. He's been there before,
Right.
but he could win his second against his former team, which was the Philadelphia Eagles,
right.
who fired him, and then he went on to Kansas
Kansas.
City. But big storyline there with Andy Reid.
Yeah, he's the winningest coach ever in Eagle history, and he's one win away from becoming the winningest coach in Kansas City history.
Yeah.
So
He'd like nothing better than to beat the
nothing
Eagles,
better to
don't
beat
you
that.
think?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
And you just a great coach, a good guy, and he's everywhere he's been productive. He's always
a
had an
winner.
outstanding coach, been a winner.
He has.
Puts him in the
Why
playoff.
did he leave Philadelphia?
Got fired.
Yeah, fired.
You know, it was
He
like,
didn't win a Super Bowl.
It's like what we talked about. He had the Eagles at a certain level and couldn't get it up to that next level. That's what happened.
Yeah.
All
get
right?
over the hump.
He couldn't
Yeah.
get over the hump, and they fired him. And all he's done is gone
Yeah.
to the Chiefs, and had great success over there.
Yeah.
Couldn't get over Humphreys Coliseum at Mississippi State.
For the first time in NFL history, two brothers will face off in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce and the Eagles center Jason Kelce. Is that the right pronunciation? K-E-L-C-E.
Yes,
Kelce.
it is. Kelce.
Both players were drafted by Andy Reid. Both of them were drafted by him. Both players have Super Bowl rings. So, Coach Trail, little pressure off with both of them already have won a Super Bowl. But interesting story with two brothers going at each other.
Yeah,
That's a great story.
Yeah.
they're not only in the game; it's bragging rights.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
not. It's not about the game.
What
They're both offensive players, so they won't be going against
Yeah,
each
no.
So
other.
how do you
but-
do that? Half the family
We'll be on the
goes
field
for
at
one
the same
guy,
time.
and half the family's for the other guy.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what I say. It's not about the game. It's about
yeah. Well, the mother's
You know-
wearing a jersey that has it's kind of split in half between them like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, but
You
what
know-
if she's not? What if she's just out there wearing looks like a Philadelphia shirt and be like, you know what? I know who my
One
favorite is.
sleeve's red and one
That's
sleeve's
right.
green. I saw her in
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
in that
Both-
jersey.
Both are graduates from University of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
By the way.
Cool.
Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, Marcus, will be the first black quarterbacks to start in the Super Bowl. Two starting black quarterbacks. Now, there have been other black quarterbacks in there, but these two are starting against each other for the first time. Huh?
I'll
And
be
two
so-
great ones.
I'll be so glad when we don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I really will.
You know,
I'm
when that
really-
doesn't make news, that'll
when
be
it, when
a
it no
great
longer
day,
makes
you
news
know,
of whether it's the first black quarterback, the first female official, the first female.
Totally
you know
agree.
what? When we don't care anymore, I feel like we got there. So yes, I'm glad we've reached this milestone in that regard.
I totally agree with the Marcus. You know, when they announced it, I said like, "Oh, really?" I mean, that's to me, I mean, that's kind of so over that threshold that for them to point out, so, "Oh, really?" I thought, it never came to my mind.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get this
Yeah,
out of the
I'm
way,
gonna-
too. Candace Parker is set to become the first woman to be an announcer in an NBA All-Star game.
Okay. I mean,
No, I'll give her props, but
Yeah.
I mean, I would be happy to just for them to say that she was going to be an announcer.
Now, I am very impressed, though, that the F-16 flyover is going to be all women pilots.
There you go.
Cool. So
there you go.
So there's a lot of milestones.
I will take that as a milestone
Yeah.
because that has
Yes.
been a career track that has been blocked off for reasons until
Yeah.
very recently.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So I will I have more too.
I'm right over the flyover at Indianapolis. You know, on the fourth term up there, they come right over the top of the
Now
deals.
that-
Right.
now
But
that-
That's loud.
If I had 4 women flyers up there, I think I'd be heading under my seat up
I
there.
believe I'd wait outside.
Jeez,
I
Mike.
believe I'd wait outside the stadium
I knew I get it, Ray.
until the
He's all
flyover
fired.
is over.
We're in trouble, Ray. We're in trouble.
Hey, as Louis Grizzard said, dang, brother, I don't believe I'd have told that.
I mean, he knows those planes can carry missiles, right?
Yeah. Tony, you started all of
There
that.
may not be a fourth turn after this year.
I mean, yeah, but it's like when they made this announcement, quarterbacks. I did give us. They don't say, well, we have the first starting right guards that are both African American players. So,
Yeah.
I think we've gone past that age where
Yeah.
it's
I got a great story on that. When Janet Guthrie qualified at Indianapolis way back in the 70s, she was the first woman. And Tony Hallman traditionally would always say, gentlemen, start your engines. And he said all week, he was sort of like Coach Trail, I'm saying, gentlemen, start your engines. That's what we say at Indianapolis, and that's what I'm going to say come Memorial Day for this race.
Yeah.
George McNaughty's wife, he was on another team, chief mechanic on another team there, and George McNaughty, his wife, went to Vala Ralstead, the owner of Janet Guthrie's cars, and said, I'd like to start her car for the race there, and that's going to mess up Tony because there's going to be a woman starting her car.
Oh, really?
With the starter.
Yes.
So Tony was like, what am I going to do now?
What to do
I got
now,
a woman starting a car for the first time. So he said, in accompaniment with the first woman driver at Indianapolis, gentlemen, start your engines.
There we go.
That's how he got around it.
That was
But,
pretty smart.
Now they say drivers start your engines, and they
Drivers
let it go. So, hey, Tony, the Eagles, a lot of off-season moves to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Kansas City's been pretty much across the board with theirs. Not a lot of moves on their part, but total transformation for the Eagles since 2017. We'll see how that works out. Huh?
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you this. I'm just real impressed with Jalen Hurts. I mean, he came out of college. He was at Alabama, then he transferred on over to Oklahoma to finish up, and he got into the NFL, and he was kind of really not sure exactly how he would be able to transform from the college game to the pro game, and he's just done a great job, and a leader and a great guy, and so I'm just very, very proud of the accomplishment that he's done for the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the game because I think these are the two best teams in pro football right now, without a doubt. And Patrick Mahomes, great quarterback there. I'm going to be anxious to see how the ankle holds up with him with that high ankle sprain because that's a hard deal to get well.
Yeah,
Coach
it takes a while on that.
Tough to heal.
I will say this, though, and I forget the name of the movie, but the movie about the Eagles, about the guy that he was a walk-on free agent and made the team.
The walk-on that made was a linebacker.
What was the Unbreakable? Or
No, it wasn't Unbreakable. I know what the movie you're talking about. And they had one of the Wahlbergs in there.
Yeah, Wahlberg. That was one of the better sports movies I've seen.
Huh.
Yeah,
I'll look that one up.
And that was based on a true story. It was the guy who
they
had open tryouts and he made the
or
team.
something like that. Yeah.
He made the he made
Greg's
the
looking at
roster.
me saying, what the heck is he even talking about?
One of the things I think to watch in the game is, with Patrick Mahomes, is the fact that the Eagles' secondary, Coach Trail, is really strong. Their secondary is strong, but can the up front guys, on the defense, can they put the pressure on Mahomes to hurry him up a little bit? But we'll see how that works out. And in the game, good quarterback, good passer, great passer, going against a good secondary.
Well, when you get to this level, they're all pretty good. So, I mean, you can't sort them because both quarterbacks are good. I think the Philadelphia quarterback's more of a runner, and I don't think they want Mahomes to do a lot of running. Really, best you can.
Yeah.
But I don't think they set it up for him to run. But it's I think it's all the teams. I think they've got the best two teams going.
Yeah. Who, Marcus, what factor do you think will play the biggest role in the Super Bowl? Quarterbacks, defense, secondary, offensive line, special teams? What do you think? What's it going to come down to?
I think it's going to come down to defensive lines. I think it's going to be the defensive line's ability to contain the opposing quarterback. That's a little bit easier for Philadelphia because of Mahomes' injury, but both quarterbacks, you've got to keep them. You can't just run after them and go after them full speed because they both got that elusive ability to make that twist and turn what was a 10-yard loss into a 10-yard gain.
I'll tell you what I think. I think it'll be the team that makes the fewest mistakes normally wins.
Yep, that's usually the case. But
because the players are pretty close. You know, I mean, it's hard to pick. But so whoever lays the ball on the ground, throws the interception, whoever makes the fewest mistakes will win the game.
Yeah, I think when they put the pressure on the quarterbacks, all right, what they'll do, they'll go with a 6 or 7 man blitz, but they'll go ahead and pull one guy off that blitz to spy that quarterback because these quarterbacks are so elusive. They can sometimes go ahead and step and avoid a blitz, and then they're taken off because everyone's manned up down the field. So what you're going to see is some blitzes where they're going to pull up a linebacker or a safety to go ahead and still spy those quarterbacks.
Yeah. Before we go to break here, Coach Trail, have you seen all the Super Bowls? Have you seen every one of them?
Yeah.
I have too.
I have.
Tony
Green Bay
has.
Packers, Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
1967.
Yeah. Yeah, Ray Scott. Remember Ray Scott announced the game. Remember?
Yep.
Max McGee, you know, he was drunk the night before. You know, didn't even know if he was going to play.
Him and Paul Hornung, yes.
That's right. And what's his name? Ray Scott, you know, there in the first half. Star went back to pass, and Ray Scott says there's a long pass down. Max McGee.
That's right.
Max McGee. Max McGee. He never did say he made a touchdown. I don't believe, did he? Huh?
Hey,
that's all he needed to say.
I think he scored 2 touchdowns. Might have been up for player of the game. You know, it was drunk the night before.
Halftime show was Al Hurt blowing the trumpet. Al Hurt.
I remember Al Hurt
playing the trumpet.
Yeah.
And the first Super Bowl was not even sold out.
No, it was played out. Well, at least it was played out there where it was
LA.
warm.
Yeah, played in L.A.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
how about you, Donnie? You seen all of them?
I have seen them all.
Marcus?
My first Super Bowl was probably the '85 Bears.
Yeah. Well.
Okay.
Well, that was a good one.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That's the first one I remember watching anyway.
Yeah. Hey, it's time for a break, and when we return, the panel presents their Shelter Insurance Bold Sports Predictions. You're listening to the Goatee Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at StevensonTire.net.
Your newspaper, that's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
Dunkin' has what you need to conquer the day. So if you want to go from, I don't got this, to, I got this, well, then get this. A bold, smooth espresso drink from Dunkin'. Like a layered velvety caramel macchiato, a rich chocolatey mocha latte, or a creamy non-dairy oat milk latte. Because this day isn't going to conquer itself. No, you're going to do that. Take a sip of You Got This with Dunkin' Espresso drinks. Order ahead on the app plus earn rewards. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the panel's Shelter Insurance Bowl predictions this week. I'm here with Coach Trail and Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons and Coach Tony Iruli. We're going to wind it up right here. A couple of things about the Super Bowl. The commercials, a 30-second commercial, Donnie, going to be about $7 million.
Ooh, my
want to call
goodness.
Brian, see if we can't get on maybe
Let's see.
second?
Yeah, let's see if Brian will get us a
Be good.
30-seconder for the sports page
Be
on
good.
there.
Halftime show, Rihanna. Rihanna, Coach
Yeah.
Trail, you looking forward to Rihanna at halftime this year? Or?
No, I normally take a leak at the halftime.
Oh, Lord.
A good long one.
Yeah. Well, if you
Okay.
if,
Okay, we're off to a good start on this.
all right, well, we'll just
Wow.
Coach Trail, if it's up to you, and to keep you from going to the bathroom, who would you have on your halftime show if you could pick?
If I could pick.
Oh Lord, the Tijuana Braves.
You really opened the door on this
Yeah.
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
You asked.
Try somebody that's still
Still
alive.
Still alive. Still alive.
All of my friends are dead. I mean, all my singers are dead.
Sounds like he's going to go to the bathroom whether it's somebody good or not, Tony. Who are you going to have at halftime?
I would go with the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
There's a good one.
Yeah.
Doon.
Yep.
Not exactly doing the Doobies. I'm just talking about the band.
Just the brothers.
Donnie, what about you?
I'd bring in Sir Elton John.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That-
all right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's good, but is that really the halftime of the football game type energy?
I don't
No,
care.
That's a 13-minute show. Is he going to come in for a 13-minute show? Maybe.
His doesn't have a song that's not 14 minutes long.
Yeah.
He might.
How about you, Marcus?
I don't know. I think I'd skip the halftime show.
Oh my God.
You go in the bathroom too.
No,
Our listeners must.
that's not the point. That's not why I'm watching the Super
Okay.
Bowl.
All right. Well, I'd probably go with the Beach Boys.
That's a good
But
one.
I'd try to find someplace in there for Elvira, the mistress
There
of the
you go.
dark.
Yeah.
I know it's not Halloween, but you remember Frank Gifford and Dandy Don and all of them. They'd have Elvira on there
Elvira,
for Halloween, and
she's
and
still
Dandy
around.
Don goes, "There's just something about that woman,
She'd get everybody's attention anyway. wouldn't she?
Absolutely, she wouldn't be any more risque than what they got out there, right,
right.
Coach Trail?
Mistress of the dark.
The next stage is nude. Total nude.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
Hey,
that's where they're
Hey,
going.
you remember when Bill Anderson, and Donnie, you probably remember, and Coach Trail, you remember Bob had Bill Anderson, on the
Yes.
show, and Bill was in the first Super Bowl. He was the announcer with John Ward over there on the
Yeah.
Law
He was,
Network.
yes,
and,
I remember.
And he came over before the Super Bowl, and they got to talking, and then Bob said, "Is that a Super Bowl ring?" And I don't know who it was on the show, but said, "Well, it ain't very big."
Hersberg probably said that.
And Bill looked at him and said, "But it's the first one."
That's right.
It's the first one. So I looked that up there the other day. That first little ring that wasn't really all that impressive, they're going for $100,000.
Ooh, wow.
Not a bad deal.
$100,000.
Packers.
Yeah,
Packers.
Packers.
Win
He lived across the street from me.
Yeah.
Really?
Bill
He may
Anderson,
have a
yeah.
couple. He probably played the Packers were in, the
Yeah.
first 2 or 3, weren't they?
I lived in
See?
Crestwood Hills, and
Yeah.
I lived up on the hill here, and he lived right in front of my house.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good gracious.
Most expensive ring that has been sold is Lawrence Taylor's Super Bowl 25 ring at $230,000.
LTs.
Yeah, that's
Boy, he's
that's one.
Man, you talk about a player now. That
Yeah.
guy was a player. Good
Well,
gracious.
let's get off all this money and let's get on some bold predictions right here.
All right, lay it on us right
All
quick.
right, South Carolina women will defeat LSU tomorrow. Marcus,
What bowl's that?
that's the SEC. The two best
BOLD
teams.
predictions.
Okay.
Two best teams in the SEC.
I'm
women's
taking
tomorrow.
LSU.
Both of them undefeated.
I'm taking LSU.
In Columbia,
Yep.
Coach Trail.
You always do that, though. He's always the underdogger.
I take South Carolina.
Yeah, I'll take South Carolina too. What about you?
Aaliyah Boston and the Gamecocks,
Yeah.
Lady
Yep.
Cox.
Yeah.
South Carolina. I watched their game against UConn the other night too.
Yeah.
And, they're very impressive.
Yeah.
They beat UConn at
Gino
UConn.
ruffled.
He got a little upset there.
Yeah, a little hot under the collar, didn't he?
And had some coaches pull him back a couple times.
Yeah, he's getting it.
Just typical game for him.
Right, I guess. Philadelphia Eagles will defeat the Kansas City Chiefs. Tomorrow's Super Bowl, Donnie.
Nope. Chiefs are going to win.
All right.
Chiefs.
Eagles.
Coach Trail. You
He's
don't need to
thinking.
go to the bathroom, do you?
This is straight up. There's no spread on. Mike's not doing the
You knew
the
they were going to
Philly
have
spread.
it. You've had all week to think about
Well,
this.
I told you a while ago the team that makes the fewest mistakes
Yeah.
will win the game.
Okay,
What's the
so
line?
that-
What's
Who's
the
going to
line
make
now?
the, who's gonna make the
That's
fewest
how-
mistake? Who's going to make the fewest mistakes?
I don't know. We got to play the game to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who
so
you got?
But
who?
Huh?
Who you got?
Who you got? Who's the what?
I don't know. I said whoever makes the fewest mistakes will win the ball game.
Good job, General Nealon.
That
Lord
is-
of mercy. Sounds like a Republican right there. I wouldn't say yes or I wouldn't say no to that right there. Huh?
Sounds like
All
a
right.
Republican.
I think it's going to be. I'll tell you what. I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah.
I do
And-
too.
And I like I said, I mean, I can sit here and say either one of them really, because like I said, who makes the fewest mistakes will win the
Yeah.
game.
I could have said
I'll-
the Cheagles.
Yeah.
Jiggles.
That'd be safe. I'll go with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs on that
Good
one.
call.
The Super Bowl will be decided by a field goal. Tony?
I think it's going to be a close game. I would agree with that.
No. No. This is going to be the last guy with the ball stolen for the end zone.
No,
Nope.
No.
Nope.
So I'm the only one.
I'm going to say that because of they're so close in their statistics and the line is what, a 1.5 line? That
Yeah.
sounds like right down to the end to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to say a field goal, but it could be an extra point. But I'll say a
Could
field.
be.
I'll say
If you
I'll
put
s-
me in the position with 3 minutes to go to either go for it or kick the field goal, I'm going for it because I don't care which team it is. The other team's quarterback, I am
Yeah.
fully
Yeah.
confident that he can drive the field in 2 minutes and score
Sure.
on it.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
going to come down to a quarterback
Yeah.
win or loss.
I'm not going to put him in a position where he can kick a field goal to
I
beat me.
think this is Kansas City's year, and they're winning on field goals, and Mahomes is hurt, so I'm going to go with a field goal. Now, this could happen. I mean, it could happen. It happened in the playoff. An official's call will decide the outcome of the Super Bowl. I'm not saying it's the wrong call. I'm
Yeah.
just saying the official's call, there's going to be a call that will decide. It could be pass interference. It could be the roughing the passer. It could be
hit out of
yeah.
bounds.
Yeah, it could be a lot of things.
That's what the other one was. Hit
Yeah.
out of bounds.
Right.
To set up the field
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and there has been other calls in the Super
Yeah.
Bowl that's decided them. So
Yeah.
this is a legitimate deal right here. Coach Trail, what do you think?
I think after that screw up they had there with the out of bounds, I think they're going to have the best officials they got.
You know,
I don't think you'll. If it's close, they're going to go the right way.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's my. I mean,
Yeah.
because they caught so much flack over that call in the other game.
Yeah.
I think the officials have been chided enough
Yeah.
over the screw ups in the past. I'd say they're going to be hands off
Yeah.
this time. So no.
Yeah, there's going to be a call somewhere along the line that
Oh, yeah.
that you're going to say, that's the wrong call to make, and it may result in the points. But that's part of football.
Yeah.
With the game on the line.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's the other way. I'm going to say it's going to be a non-call that's going to decide it, where we're going to see something and say, how is that not pass interference? How is that not holding?
Yeah.
Well, that
Yeah.
could be.
I think that'll be a deciding factor
That's
because
about
of what
every play.
happened.
Should this is not a question, but should the NFL, when you've got a game that it means so much and you've got a crucial play, should they not be able to go to the monitor and look at it again? I mean, they do it in basketball in the last minute or whatever. Do you think they should not do that?
I think they should. I think they're, a game changer.
That involves the official.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should be able to go look at that.
Yeah.
But they can all except the last 2 minutes.
Yeah. Donnie, we're out of time.
We are.
You got a whistle?
Indeed, right here.
Yeah. Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael at Loud Media, our host, the Blue Tick Tavern, and all our sponsors. For Donnie Moore, Ray Trail, Marcus Fitzsimmons, and Troy Provo Heron. Also, Tony Iruli, thanks for you this
Always
week.
great
Good
to be here.
Good to see you. Until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone good sports.